Hello students, welcome back to Speedo Education by Tripti. In our previous lesson, we learned about ecosystems. We understand that an ecosystem is an natural system where living organisms interact with one another and with the non-living components of their environment. We also learned about biotic and abiotic components and saw how these interactions help maintain the balance of nature. Now, here is an interesting question. Have you ever wondered why a lion cannot prepare its own food like a tree? Or why plants never hunt animals for food? And what happens to dead plants and animals after they die? Nature has given every living organism a special role. Some organisms prepare food, some obtain food by eating other organisms, while others break down dead organisms and recycle nutrients back into the environment. Based on the way they obtain food, scientists divide living organisms into three major groups: producers, consumers, and decomposers. Together, these three groups ensure that energy flows through ecosystem and nutrients are continuously recycled. Without any one of these groups, ecosystem would become unbalanced, making life difficult to even impossible. In this lesson, we will understand each of these groups in detail and discover how they work together to support life on Earth. Now, why do living organisms need food? Before learning about producers, consumers, and decomposers, let's first understand why every living organism needs food. Food is one of the basic requirements for life. Just as a car needs fuel to run, every living organism needs food to carry out its daily activities. This energy helps organisms move, grow, repair damaged cells and tissues, reproduce, respond to their surroundings, and maintain normal body functions such as respiration, circulation, and digestion. For example, when you walk, run, play, or even think, your body uses energy obtained from food. Similarly, animals need food to search for shelter, escape from predators, and care for their young. Plants also need food. Although plants cannot move from one place to another, they require energy to grow taller, produce roots, leaves, flowers, fruits, and seed, transport water and minerals, and carry out all their life process. Even tiny bacteria and fungi require food for growth and reproduction. But have you ever thought about where this energy originally comes from? The answer is sun. The sun is known as the ultimate source of energy for almost all ecosystems on Earth. Green plants capture sunlight and convert this solar energy into chemical energy stored in food. This stored energy is then passed from one organism to another when food is eaten. That is why scientists say that the flow of energy in an ecosystem begins with the sun. Producers, which means autotrophs. Now let's learn about the first and one of the most important groups of living organisms, which is producers or autotrophs. Producers are organisms that can prepare their own food from simple inorganic substances such as carbon dioxide and water by using sunlight. Since they produce their own food, they are called producers. In biology, producers are also known as autotrophs. The word auto means self and troph means nutrition or feeding. Therefore, autotrophs are organisms that make their own food. Most producers are green plants because they contain a green pigment called chlorophyll. Chlorophyll absorbs sunlight, which produces the energy needed to prepare food. Apart from green plants, algae and some photosynthetic bacteria such as cyanobacteria are also producers because they can prepare their own food. Some common examples of producers include grass, mango tree, neem tree, wheat, rice, maize, spinach, lotus, water plants, and algae. All these organisms prepare food through a process called photosynthesis. Producers occupy the first trophic level in every food chain because they are the original source of food and energy for all other living organisms. No animals can prepare food directly from sunlight. Herbivores obtain energy by eating plants. Carnivores obtain energy by eating herbivores, and omnivores obtain energy from both plants and animals. This means that every consumer depends directly or indirectly on producers for survival. For this reason, producers are often called the foundation of every ecosystem. Without producers, food chain would not exist, oxygen level would decrease, and also life on earth would not be able to continue. So remember this point. Producers are the only organisms capable of converting solar energy into food, making them the starting point of energy flow in every ecosystem. Key points to remember: food provides energy for all life processes. The sun is the ultimate source of energy for almost all ecosystems. Producers prepare their own food. Producers, also called autotrophs, green plants, algae, and some bacteria, are producers. Producers occupy the first trophic level. Every consumer depends directly or indirectly on producers. How producers make their own food, which is called photosynthesis. The process by which green plants prepare their food is called photosynthesis. The word photosynthesis comes from two Greek words. Photo means lights and synthesis means to make or put together. So, photosynthesis means making food using sunlight. To prepare food, plants needs four things: sunlight, water, carbon dioxide, and chlorophyll. Let's understand the role of each one. Sunlight is the primary source of energy. Without sunlight, photosynthesis cannot take place. Water is absorbed by the roots from the soil and transported to the leaves through the stem. Carbon dioxide is taken in from the atmosphere through tiny openings on the surface of leaf called stomata. The fourth requirement is chlorophyll, the green pigment found inside the chloroplast of plant cells. Chlorophyll absorbs sunlight and provides the energy needed for photosynthesis. Using these four components, plants produce glucose, a simple sugar that serves as their food. Any extra glucose is converted into starch and stored in different parts of the plants, such as roots, stems, fruits, and seeds. The plant uses this stored food whenever it needs energy. During photosynthesis, plants also release oxygen into the atmosphere through the stomata. This oxygen is essential for the survival of most living organisms because it is used in the process of respiration. The simplified chemical equation for photosynthesis is carbon dioxide plus water plus sunlight plus chlorophyll, and on the right hand side the result will come glucose plus oxygen. Just remember that plants use sunlight to convert carbon dioxide and water into food while releasing oxygen. Photosynthesis is one of the most important biological processes on earth because it provides food and oxygen, making life possible. Importance of producers. Now let's understand why producers are so important. Producers are often called the foundation of every ecosystems because they are the only organisms that can convert solar energy into food. Let's look at their importance one by one. First, producers are the primary source of food. Every food chain begins with producers. Herbivores eat plants directly, carnivores eat herbivores. Omnivores eat both plants and animals. Even if an animal never eats plants directly, it still depends on producers because its food ultimately comes from plants. For example, a lion eats a deer, but the deer survives by eating grass. This means the lions also depend indirectly on producers. Second, Producers release oxygen. During photosynthesis, plants release oxygen into the atmosphere. Humans and most animals need oxygen for respiration. Without producers, there would not be enough oxygen to support life on Earth. Interestingly, forest, grassland, and tiny ocean organisms called phytoplankton together produce most of the Earth's oxygen. Third, producers absorb carbon dioxide. Plants absorb carbon dioxide from the atmosphere during photosynthesis. Carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas. By absorbing carbon dioxide, plants help reduce its concentration in the atmosphere and contribute to maintain the balance of gases. This is one reason why planting more trees is important for protecting the environment. Fourth is producers store solar energy. The sun is the ultimate source of energy, but animals cannot use sunlight directly to prepare food. Plants capture solar energy and convert it into chemical energy stored in glucose. When animals eat plants, this stored energy is transferred to them. As animals are eaten by other animals, energy continues to move through the ecosystem. Fifth is producer provide habitat and shelter. Many living organisms depend on plants not only for food but also for shelter. Birds build nests on trees, monkeys live in forests, insects hide among leaves and flowers. Many animals use plants for protection from predators and harsh weather. Thus, producers support biodiversity by providing home for countless species. Sixth is producers help maintain ecological balance. Producers connect the living and non-living components of an ecosystem. They use sunlight, water, carbon dioxide, and minerals to prepare food. This food supports consumers after plants and animals die. Decomposers return nutrients to the soil, allowing producers to grow again. This continuous cycle helps maintain ecological balance. Consumers, which means heterotrophs. Now let's move to the second major group of living organisms. Consumers are organisms that cannot prepare their own food. Instead, they obtain food by eating plants, animals, or both. Since they depend on other organisms for nutrition, they are called heterotrophs. The word heterotrophs means different and troph means nutrition or feeding. This means heterotrophs obtain food from other living organisms. Consumers include a wide variety of organisms such as humans, cows, goats, rabbits, deer, lions, tigers, snakes, eagles, fish, frogs, insects, and so many on. Some consumers eat only plants, some eat only animals, some eat both plants and animals. Scientists classify consumers into different groups based on their feeding habits. These groups include herbivores, carnivores, omnivores, and parasites. Key points to remember. Photosynthesis is the process by which plants prepare food. Photosynthesis requires sunlight, water, carbon dioxide, and chlorophyll. Plants produce glucose and release oxygen. Producers are the foundation of every ecosystem. Producers provide food, oxygen, shelter, and stored energy. Consumers cannot make their own food. Consumers are also called heterotrophs. All consumers depend directly or indirectly on producers. Next, we have importance of consumers. Consumers are much more than organisms that simply eat food. They play several important roles in maintaining the balance of nature. First is consumers help in the flow of energy. Consumers obtain energy by eating producers or other consumers. This energy is then transferred from one trophic level to the next. In this way, consumers help maintain the continuous flow of energy through an ecosystem. For example, when a rabbit eats grass, the energy stored in the grass is transferred to the rabbit. When a fox eats the rabbit, that energy is transferred to the fox. This process continues throughout the food chain. Consumers control populations. Consumers help control the population of other organisms. If herbivores were absent, many plants would grow uncontrollably. On the other hand, if carnivores disappeared, herbivore population could increase rapidly, leading to overgrazing and destruction of vegetation. In this way, consumers help maintain ecological balance. Third is consumers help in pollination and seeds dispersal. Some consumers, such as bees, butterflies, birds, and bats, help in pollination by carrying pollen from one flower to another. Many birds and animals also eat fruits and later disperse the seed to different places through their droppings. This process is called seeds dispersal. Both pollination and seeds dispersal help new plants grow and reproduce. Fourth is consumers maintain biodiversity. The interactions between different consumers help maintain biodiversity. Predators remove weak, sick, and old animals, helping keep population healthy. At the same time, competition among organisms prevents any one species from dominating an ecosystem. This balance supports the survival of a wide variety of plants and animals. Types of consumers. Consumers are classified according to the type of food they eat. So, this is the only introduction. Herbivores are animals that eat only plants or plants product. For example, includes cow, goats, deer, rabbits, elephants, horses, and grasshoppers. Since they feed directly on producers, herbivores are usually primary consumers. Carnivores are animals that eat the flesh of other animals, for example, lions, tigers, wolves, crocodiles, snakes, and eagles. Depending on what they eat, carnivores may be secondary consumers, tertiary consumers, or even apex predators. Omnivores eat both plants and animals. For example, include human bears, crows, pigs, dogs, and chickens. Because they eat from different trophic levels, omnivores have a varied diet. Next we have parasites. According to NCERT, another type of consumer is the parasites. They live on or inside another living organism called the host and obtain food from it without immediately killing it. For example, includes lice, ticks, tapeworms, mosquitoes, and leeches. Some parasites can cause diseases while others simply obtain nourishment from their host. In the next lesson, we will study herbivores, carnivores, omnivores, and parasites in much greater detail, including their adaptations, feeding habits, and examples. Next we have is decomposers. Decomposers are organisms that break down dead plants, dead animals, and organic waste into simpler substances. Unlike producers, decomposers cannot prepare their own food. Unlike consumers, they do not usually hunt or graze. Instead, they obtain nutrients by feeding on dead and decaying organic matter. The most common decomposers are bacteria and fungi. For example, mushroom growing on a dead wood and bacteria present in the soil are important decomposers. This process of breaking down dead organic matter into simpler substances is called decomposition. During decomposition, complex organic substances are converted into simpler inorganic substances such as minerals, carbon dioxide, and water. These nutrients return to the soil and are absorbed by plants. This natural recycling process keeps ecosystem functioning effectively. Next we have importance of decomposers. Decomposers are often called nature's recyclers because they continuously recycle nutrients. First is they recycle nutrients. When plants and animals die, decomposers break them down and return essential nutrients to the soil. Plants absorb these nutrients through their roots and use them for growth. Without decomposers, nutrients would remain locked inside dead organisms. Second is they improve soil's fertility. As decomposers break down organic matter, they form humus, a dark nutrient-rich material that improves soil quality. Humus increases the soil's ability to hold water and provides minerals needed for healthy plant growth. Third is they keep the environment clean. Imagine if dead leaves fallen trees and dead animals were never decomposed, they would continue accumulating year after year, making the environment dry and unhealthy. Decomposers naturally clean the environment by breaking down this waste. Fourth is they complete nutrient cycles. Decomposers play an essential role in nutrient cycles such as the carbon cycle and nitrogen cycle. By returning nutrients to the environment, they ensure that these materials can be used again by producers. Fifth is they maintain ecological balance. Without decomposers, ecosystem would eventually run out of available nutrients. Plants' growth would slow down, fruit production would decrease, and the entire food chain would be affected. This is why decomposers are considered one of the most important groups of organisms in nature. Key points to remember: consumers help transfer energy through ecosystem. Consumers control population and support diversity. Some consumers help in pollination and seed dispersal. Herbivores, carnivores, omnivores, and parasites are different types of consumers. Decomposers break down dead organisms. Bacteria and fungi are the main decomposers. Decomposers recycle nutrients and improve soil's fertility. Without decomposers, ecosystem could not function properly. How producers, consumers, and decomposers work together. Now that we have learned about producers, consumers, and decomposers individually, let's understand how they work together to maintain the balance of an ecosystem. An ecosystem functions like a well organized team where every member has a specific role. If even one group is removed, the balance of nature can be disturbed. Let's understand this step by step. The sun is the ultimate source of energy for all ecosystems. Producers such as green plants capture sunlight and convert it into chemical energy through the photosynthesis. This food becomes the primary source of energy for all other organisms. Consumers cannot prepare their own food, so they depend directly or indirectly on producers. Herbivores eat plants, carnivores eat herbivores, and omnivores eat both plants and animals. As organisms eat one another, energy flows from one level to the next. When plants and animals die or they produce waste, decomposers such as bacteria, fungi, break down this organic matter into simpler substances. These nutrients return to the soil where they are absorbed again by plants for growth. This creates a nutrient cycle of food, energy, and nutrients that keeps ecosystem healthy and balanced. Remember an important difference. Energy flows in one direction from the sun to producers and then to consumers. Nutrients, however, are recycled continuously through the action of decomposers. This is one of the fundamental principles of ecology. Real life ecosystem example. Let's understand this with the example of a forest ecosystem. Imagine a large forest filled with trees, shrubs, grasses, birds, insects, and animals. The trees and grasses are the producers because they prepare their own food through photosynthesis. A deer eats grass and leaves, therefore, the deer is a consumer. A tiger hunts and eats the deer. The tiger is also a consumer. When the tiger, deer, or trees die, fungi and bacteria begin breaking down their remains. These decomposers convert dead organic matter into simpler nutrients that mixes with the soil. The trees absorb these nutrients through their roots and use them for growth. Once again, the deer eats the plants and the tiger eats the deer. In this way, the cycle continuously maintains the balance of the forest ecosystem. This example clearly shows that producers, consumers, and decomposers are all interconnected and depend on one another. Interesting facts. Let's learn some interesting facts. Did you know that phytoplankton, tiny microscopic organisms living in oceans, are among the largest producers on Earth? They contribute a significant portion of the oxygen released into our atmosphere. A single mature tree can support hundreds of different organisms, including birds, insects, fungi, and microorganisms. Scientists often call fungi nature's recyclers because they help return valuable nutrients to the soil. Without decomposers, dead plants and animals would continue accumulating, and ecosystem would eventually run out of nutrients needed for new plant growth. Every food chain, no matter how simple or complex, always begins with producers. Let's quickly revise today's lesson. Living organisms are classified into three main groups based on how they obtain food. Producers prepare their own food using sunlight through the process of photosynthesis. They are also known as autotrophs and form the first trophic level. Consumers cannot prepare their own food, they depend on plants or other animals for energy, are called heterotrophs. Consumers include herbivores, carnivores, omnivores, and parasites. Decomposers, mainly bacteria and fungi, break down dead plants and dead animals and organic waste into simpler substances, returning nutrients to the soil. Together, these three groups ensure the continuous flow of energy and recycling of nutrients, helping maintain ecological balance. Next, we have quiz time. Let's test your understanding. Who are producers? Producers are organisms that prepare their own food through photosynthesis. Second question, why are producers called autotrophs? Because they prepare their own food from simple inorganic substances using sunlight. Question 3, name 4 raw materials required for photosynthesis. Sunlight, water, carbon dioxide, and chlorophyll. Next question, who are consumers? Consumers are organisms that cannot prepare their own food and depend on other organisms for nutrition. Question 5, name the 4 main types of consumers: herbivores, carnivores, omnivores, and parasites. Next, who are decomposers? Decomposers are organisms such as bacteria and fungi that break down dead organisms into simpler substances. Next question, why are decomposers called nature's recyclers? Because they recycle nutrients by breaking down dead plants, animals, and organic waste, returning essential minerals to the soil. Last question, which organism form the first trophic level? Answer is producers. So, today we learned that every organism has an important role in nature. Producers prepare food and convert solar energy into chemical energy. Consumers transfer this energy by feeding on plants and other animals. Decomposers recycle nutrients and return them to the environment. Together, these three groups maintain ecological balance and make life on Earth possible. Understanding their roles help us appreciate how closely connected all living organisms are and why protecting ecosystem is so important. So, thank you for joining me in this lesson. I hope you now have a clear understanding of producers, consumers, and decomposers. If you enjoyed this lesson, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Speedo Education by Tripti.